Yarn expert Clara Parks is back today to talk about the mysteries of hand-dyed yarns. Welcome, Clara.
Hi, Uni.
So, it can be really confusing when you go to the yarn store.
It really can. There are so many new yarns out there, and they're all advertising themselves as hand-dyed or hand-painted or dip-dyed. I mean, there's no standard language for what's happening, except that the color is being applied by the human hand instead of by a machine.
And you can get very deliberate variations too.
You can, you totally can. Yarn is a perfect canvas for color play.
Well, let's take a look at what it actually looks like when you are, how many dyers do this.
Okay, this is the exciting part. Okay, it's like we're opening up a bottle of wine or confetti or something. Hand dyers work in 72-inch hanks almost always, and this is what it looks like if you open it up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's their actual canvas. This is what they're looking at when they're applying the color.
This is starting out white or whatever.
Yep, it's starting
base
out
color
probably that was the base color right there. And some hand dyers now are playing with leaving white space. For a while there, it was really popular to just oversaturate every single inch. Now we're kind of pulling back. But what this shows us is basically how the color was applied. In this particular instance, a lot of times hand dyers will use little squirt bottles, and they'll kind of squirt a little color here, here, and here, and then they'll rub that in, and then they'll pick another color, squirt it over here and over here. But they know enough to know where the colors are going to meet. That's like the Bermuda Triangle for hand dyers, because if they don't meet right, you're just going to have dark blotch, dark blotch, dark blotch. So that's what's happened here, and it's going to knit up into a lot of flickering color variegation. The other way that you can do it is you can just dye it, and see, I don't know, hand dyers are very mysterious about their processes. So
well, they're artisans.
They're artisans, yeah. And there's a lot of, people look at other people's colors and gain inspiration from it, so people are a bit secretive. But what could have happened here, maybe not, I don't know, would be that you start with a base color, you dye the whole thing in that base color, so you just dunk dye that whole thing, or kettle dye it in a big kettle, and then you would splash stronger accents, darker shades of that same color. And what's nice about this type of hand-dyed yarn is that you can do more complicated stitch patterns, and they don't get lost.
Ah, because the color variation is subtle.
Right, because if you did it in a yarn like that, although that's still utterly gorgeous, I'd probably just want a larger area for the motif, but otherwise, yeah, all that hard work gets lost.
That makes sense. And when we look at this pile of skeins here, I see a lot of kind of variation in, the different ways of the color it looks to be applied.
Yeah. That's the thing. Here, I would call this a semi-solid. Really, it's just varying saturation of one hue. Here you can go into gentler migrations from hue to hue, or here you can have really strong areas. What I would guess happened was when that giant hank was open, it was large color, large color, large color.
And they'll all knit up really differently.
They do knit up very differently. Here is an example of what happens, this guy over here, if you have large area, large area, large area. Sometimes what can happen, if you think of yarn as a raceway, and you have a finite, when they're dyeing it, they've got that 72-inch raceway. If you get into the right lap lane, you can start pooling, you'll meet the same color again and again and again. They call that pooling. It creates a
pattern.
Yeah, it creates a pattern.
And then here, this is very subtle.
Isn't that beautiful? That to me is kind of the ultimate artistry, because there's such gentle variegation. It's like water over kind of mossy pebbles. You don't get clear stripes, you don't get clear pooling. It's just one general theme with sort of flickering overtones of other colors.
What's the fiber blend here? This has a really nice sheen to it.
The thing, okay, all of these have superwash merino as the base. 100% superwash. This one's a blend. This is a blend of superwash merino with cashmere and silk.
Oh, wow.
So that's what you were seeing, the shine, kind of the shimmer from the silk. Superwash is very, very popular for hand dyers, and there's a reason for that. Because when they make wool machine washable, what they do is they have to basically sort of shave down all the teeny tiny microscopic scales that cover the fiber surface, because that's what causes felting. And when you remove those, you're smoothing out the fiber surface and you're making it more lustrous and more reflective.
So it shows the dye even that much better.
It does.
Well, fabulous. Thank you so much, Clara.